up there. And plus, it gets
Hello.
like 300 inches of snow, and that's what I wanted.
I think everything is working. I think we're back on. It took me a moment to get Discord to function, but I think we're there.
Alrighty.
Do you guys hear me? Everything good?
Yes, I can hear you.
Wonderful.
On Twitch. Yeah, you might want to just push it up a little bit.
Push it up a little bit, make me
a
little louder, make you a little louder.
Just the whole thing in general.
Just the whole thing in general a little louder. All right. Well, we can get a little louder in here for sure. All right. Welcome everybody to another fantastic episode of the Ludic Society. Here, finally, so close to the end of Stockroach. I am your host. I am Wren Dalton, the MA student at in Plan H that you deal with so often, and I am joined by my two lovely co-hosts again, back, the whole team, for the first time in a while.
I'm David. I'm a PhD student here at UW Milwaukee. Plan H, English department. Yeah.
Yeah. I presume you know your plans better than I do.
We just know the letter. We don't plan it all, actually. It's just a letter.
So you're preparation H. Is that what you're saying? Because you don't plan?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Preparation H.
We don't
That's
plan,
correct.
we prepare.
Reaching for those high
An actor prepares.
A graduate student runs away in fear.
I am Morgan. I am an anthropology master's student here at UWM. I guess technically I'm not a student right now, but give me 2 days and I will be registered to be a student again.
All right. That seems like an arbitrary distinction at that point.
The registration just opens it on the 16th.
Right, yeah, I guess it does. Fuck, wow. Oh, man. 2 years goes by so fast. My God.
Yeah, it really does.
Especially
really
when you
does.
were a master's student in the time warp that is the pandemic. So.
Oh, yeah. Groovy Lobster, great to see you again.
Let's not do the time warp again.
Oh, God. Yeah, let's not do the pandemic ever again.
We'll push it off another 100 years.
Yes, please.
There'll be another one. They can do the time warp then.
Yes.
Because 100 years previous, there was the Spanish flu. So, it was...
Christ.
Honestly, if it's gonna be one, I want it to be full biblical. I want it to be toads. I want it to be locusts. I want it to be I want the full.
You want the
whole
thing?
ensemble.
Oh,
the whole
no.
thing.
Even the gas coming in and
Yeah.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well,
The whole
at
thing.
least you
No
got all seven.
firstborns. Hashtag no firstborns. You wanted the whole biblical plagues. That was
Well, it's like I want there to be drama. Sorry. I'm so tired this weekend. I'm so I've done so much work on essays and things that I'm so out of it.
Tired David is a sass.
Tired David goes straight to bring the biblical plagues, kill all our firstborn children, apparently. I think Blumhouse should hire Tired David.
Not all of them, just one of them.
Just one.
Oh,
just
just one of the plagues.
No, just one of the firstborns.
Oh, okay,
just
my
one of
bad.
the
Just
first.
one around the world. That's a little bit better. Anyway,
Around
before
the
we get
world,
started today,
around the
David, would you like to read our land acknowledgement? Or Morgan, it doesn't really matter. I'm just used to saying David at this point.
I haven't read it in a while. But I don't
Sure.
care.
I can do it. I've got it up right now. So we acknowledge that in Milwaukee, we live and work on traditional Potawatomi, Ho-Chunk, and Menominee homelands along the southwest shores of Michigami, part of North America's system of freshwater lakes, where the Menominee, Milwaukee, and Kinnickinnick rivers meet, and the people of Wisconsin sovereign Anishinaabe, Ho-Chunk, Menominee, and Oneida and Mohican nations remain present. And I'm gonna draw from the Canadian Game Studies Conference. And they also had a land acknowledgement, but they say that as an organization, they are made possible by the infrastructure and resources located in the unceded territories of the First Nations that they are on. And I think that's a good way of saying we are built on the land that was stolen from other people. So I just like that little bit. I'm thinking about rewording ours a little bit, how to make it even more kind of direct.
I'd definitely run it past Janelle too. since I think
Oh
Janelle
yeah,
did
of course.
the first draft.
Yeah, I would never be like, we're changing it. By the way.
It's just thought you want to be a little bit more inclusive, a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean,
Well-rounded.
it's just, the idea of being a little more, not social justice with it, but a more just with it. And to just to bounce off that, I'm gonna share again the Indigenous Game Devs website in the chat here. So if we have any Indigenous game devs in the chat, or you're just more interested, it's for Indigenous game devs to kind of like build community and resources and that kind of stuff, which is super important. So
I think a master list of Indigenous ARG creators too at some point. That'd be cool. But I don't know any, so if any you do, give me a heads up in the chat, I suppose. You do need to answer our hard sells question, by the way, before we get started. What would be your stand name?
Mine.
Yes.
So I've never seen JoJo.
Oh. Well, that makes it a little hard.
I don't know what's like the linguistic topography of these stand names.
Stand names need to be either a band or a particular piece of music.
Stockroach. That's what David says. I don't know. That's the one in the first game.
Rimsky-Korsakov.
Here's my stand. Nintendo Power. That's not. I don't think that works, but it's pretty good.
my stand would be called the Forest Temple from Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, or Last Surprise. No, mine's called Last Surprise.
Oh my God. Well, the funny thing in chat, of course, is the discourse is that killing the firstborn son is your stand power. So Last Surprise would be a really funny stand name. Or something that kills the firstborn son. That's great. Oh man.
They know my art of war, I was listening to that earlier today and it was so good.
Stockroach.
Anyway.
All right. So today, what are we doing? Well, we're getting back into Stockroach as we usually do. And David knows where we are, but Morgan, I think, needs a little update on what's happened since you last took part in a Stockroach stream. So let me give you a heads up.
How many Stockroach streams has there been since I've not been here?
I think just 1 or 2.
I think 2. I think either 2 or 3. I'm not sure.
Because we did
there's been a few ARG ones where Wren has done solo streaming.
Yep. Been hanging out, playing video games and stuff.
Yes, I just say yes, I did tromboner.
How do I put this? So there are 2 things that you need to kind of know, I think. And David obviously can throw in what David thinks is important. But I feel like the 2 most important things are, 1, that the Night Roach is becoming more persistent. And that Night Roach has taken over the Stockario Roachus ARG within the ARG. And that's kind of whatever happens at the end of that seems to be very important. The other thing I think is worth mentioning is that Stockroach realized he had 2.69 Bitcoin, and then was hacked and all of his Bitcoin was stolen, but not before he scheduled a date with Ashley at the Olive Garden. Yay.
I love Olive Garden.
So he's going to Olive Garden with Ashley. He's lost 2.9 Bitcoins, which is actually a lot.
Yeah, it's like $66,000. at time of this. I don't know what it is now. I don't know if Bitcoin's gone up or down or whatever else.
There was a story of a guy who had like 50 Bitcoins on a hard drive that was encrypted that he'd lost the key to.
Oh God. Oh, can you imagine?
So he had like $1 million of Bitcoin or something crazy like that just sitting on a hard drive that he couldn't get to.
That's awful.
This was like last year, I think.
God. I mean, like, it's one thing if you get hacked and somebody steals your Bitcoin, then it's like, well, that sucks, but those guys are fuckers. But like, if you just lose your key.
Stare at the hard drive. Yeah. Stare at it. Like,
$1 million paperweight.
Yeah.
Oh God. Christ. David, do you have anything to add?
No, I think you covered it.
Sweet. Yeah. I mean, obviously there's a lot of small things that'll pop up, and we'll like try to mention that they're callbacks if they're callbacks. Like for instance, looking at the screen right now, you may see the book, which has been announced by now in the story. But you may also see the I am confident, I am successful, I am handsome. He's been listening to a lot of YouTube affirmations recently.
That's good.
Bitcoin
Okay.
right now is basically double what it was at that time. So now he would have something in the realm of like a little over $128,000. That's a lot. That's enough for Olive Garden, I'd say. But yes, thank you, Trombone Boomer, for your. I almost said tromboner again. I think I'm just gonna start like lean into it and never say tromboomer ever again. Just say tromboner.
That's what I do.
That's it's amazing. All right, let's get to it. I've been running the lo-fi underneath us while we've been chatting, and I think it's time to get started. So we will pick up with Bitcoin update, and then after that, it is basically a free shot right to the end of the series. I really think that, we are 17 minutes into today's stream. We're going to get through almost all of it, if not all of it today. There really isn't a ton to go over, I don't think. What is that? David, can you translate Groovy Lobster's comment?
Should hodled that crypto SMH.
I can't tell what hodled means.
Oodle?
Oodled. Maybe hoodled. I don't know.
I am deliberately trying to be ignorant about any kind of Bitcoin out there, so I don't know what to say.
Well, you can't anymore. You know so much now. Here we go, though. Let's get into this.
Stockroach here. Today's episode is brought to you by Backblaze, who did a really, really good job helping me get all my files back onto my computer. But the one thing that they did not help me put back on my computer is my Bitcoin, which honestly is pretty weird because
Could you turn up the video a little bit, right?
Yeah, I can
every
try.
other-
Sorry,
let me
I have
see
such
what I can
such
do.
bad hearing, you guys.
Well, it might be
Okay,
that
hearing.
I need to figure out which. So the thing about having
file
virtual
back
audio
on my
cables
computer, like they
is
even
that
put
Wait,
the
becomes-
just kidding, just kidding.
Oh,
Just
you're
kidding,
good?
Wren. It's on my end. It's on my
Oh,
end.
okay, cool.
I had the slider down too low.
Oh, it's an investment term. Oh, we're actually.
back
I'll
onto my
check that link
computer.
out after this episode,
But the
Groovy.
one thing that they did not help me put back on my computer is my Bitcoin, which honestly is pretty weird because they put literally every other file back on my computer. Like they even put the virus right back on my desktop. Not again.
Shmushbum.
Well, that's a thing.
Hey, Money Grubs. Sorry about that. So, the good news is that since I don't have any Bitcoin left, the virus didn't lock my computer. The other good news is that the hackers who stole my Bitcoin actually were able to get the credit limit on my credit card increased. But the bad news is that they also hacked out my credit card, buying more Bitcoin, and then sending it to themselves. Anyway. You probably don't know this because I never reveal anything personal about myself on my YouTube, but there's this girl that I'm probably gonna marry one day. She doesn't know that yet, but we were actually gonna get
Jonathan
dinner
Blow.
together next weekend at a really fancy restaurant, and I don't know how I can pay for it now that
It's a
all my
very
Bitcoin's
high
gone.
schooler thing to say.
And I'm not going to tell you the restaurant for privacy reasons, but I've been looking at the menu and like I don't think there's any possible way for us to both eat there for less than like $57 or like maybe 58 if we leave a tip. So I'm trying to figure that out. Like
I gotta
I'm
say,
even
Olive
considering
Garden's gotten
something
really expensive.
crazy like
Has it really?
selling some of my action figures.
Has it gotten more
which is
expensive
probably
over time?
honestly
Other than
like
inflation?
$57 each.
Oh, 100%.
Because, like,
Because you used to
you
be
can
able to go to
see
Olive
that
Garden
they're
for like
actually
$30.
pretty high
No longer.
quality.
No longer.
Stagflation,
And
am I
also,
right?
if they fall apart,
Mhm.
you can just put them back
Slash,
together.
they want to
So
pretend to be.
they're actually they're interactive in a way.
Oh, this is webcam.
Yeah,
But anyway, if you have any other ideas about
he's
how to
selling
raise
his action figures.
$57, let me know in the comments. Or if you have any extra Bitcoin and you want to send me one, just let me know and I'll give you my email. But yeah, like don't worry about me. And most of all, don't worry about my Bitcoin because I'm sure that the hacker who stole it from me is going to spend it on something really, really cool. So I'm actually really happy about that. I'm really happy for my Bitcoin, and we're gonna get through this together.
Sure are, Stockroach. So that's actually a surprisingly good recap of where he's at, just on its own.
So he's gotten hacked. His credit cards are maxed out.
Yes.
He doesn't have any Bitcoin. And he's selling his action figures.
It's the only thing he can imagine that could get him $57 at the time of posting. Yeah. And so, the Twitter, I think at this point, I gotta remember where we are here, because it is difficult to remember exactly what episode we're on. A lot of this starts bleeding together in my head towards the end of it. Yeah, here we go. I found this from Trombone here. I found this website. I hope you can utilize it. 60 ways to make $50 fast. Stockroach. Great suggestion, but I would still be $7 short. Trombone. Oh, sorry. I didn't even think of that. So there you go. That's where we're at, really. He is right. He probably could sell his action figures for $57. I'm more interested in this Olive Garden thing, though.
His broken ass.
Yeah.
Action figures.
Somebody will buy them.
Olive Garden used to have the buy one get a free entree sort of thing. So
yeah.
Really cheap. And now they don't do that anymore. They don't really have any promotions anymore, except for the unlimited breadsticks and things, which might be why the price got jacked up, because they were paying for unlimited breadsticks and salads.
Really? I know people would go there and just get the breadsticks. I'm guilty of that. I couldn't do that anymore, but when I was 16, you just get shitloads of breadsticks.
I mean, you can still eat shit tons of breadsticks at however old you are.
23, 24, yeah. Ambiguously between the two, that's where I'm at right now.
I am just over 25.
I am the baby of the stream.
Which makes you the baby of the stream / baby of the collab.
Yeah, I really am pretty fucking young, all things considered.
And then everyone in chat is older than us. We established this a while ago.
Oh yes, right. Everyone in chat is older than us. I completely forgot.
We were talking about the Great Recessions, and then they were like, "Oh, I was in college," and we're like, "Oh."
If you are in chat,
I lost my job, and we're like, "Oh."
If you are in chat, you are now at least 24, regardless of how old you actually are.
David's a Rugrat. You are a Rugrat. I'm not a Rugrat. I was too young to remember the Rugrats. And everyone's like, "Oh, my senior mural." They painted a thing for our senior class. Was all this '90s stuff, and it went, guys, we were 4 in 2000.
Yeah, but then I just didn't until 2004.
We're not '90s babies. We are not '90s babies.
I was born in '94, so I'm kind of a '90s, but I had 3 older sisters, so I was a '90s baby because all my stuff was things from the early '90s that my sisters loved.
Yeah,
I just happened to run into a bunch of '90s material myself. I'm the same.
I watched a lot of Modern Marvels. I didn't watch a lot of cartoons, so I guess maybe that's why. I was a dork and watched documentaries and Danny Phantom.
Danny Phantom is good. It's a shame that Butch Hartman is an asshat.
We can watch Danny Phantom and enjoy it without
Butch. I agree.
Without Butch.
I'm just saying it's a shame.
Yeah.
But tangents aside,
we're off track.
Yeah. So, I think maybe watching this next one will give you the context you need to have something to say about this whole thing. And it'll take us to a brand new website. So we begin.
Hi, everyone. This is youtube.com's The Stockroach. Now, you probably know me as the roach who has it all. And up until a few days ago, that was true. I cruised around the Sea of Japan with my favorite celebrities. I studied painting with the
Hayao
ancient masters of the
Miyazaki.
forest. I lifted weights made of solid gold.
Da Vinci.
And I made YouTube videos from my couch, which was stuffed full of $100 bills. And the reason I could do all these amazing things was because I had over $1 million secretly invested in Bitcoin.
$1 million.
All that changed on the evening of August 2021. when I accidentally double-clicked a virus and my computer began emitting a high-pitched screaming sound. I locked my computer in the bathroom as fast as I could, but it was already too late. My Bitcoin was gone, and with it went my dreams of taking a girl that I like out to dinner at a really fancy restaurant.
Oh.
I thought that was the end of my story, but then I realized it might be just the beginning.
Dun, 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 dun.
Anyone who has watched my highly successful YouTube series about how to become an investor knows that the number one rule of investing is never give up. And the number two rule of investing
Never give up.
is if you
Never
need money,
surrender.
ask your friends. Today, for the first time in Stockroach
My two
history,
friends.
I'm taking my own advice. I'm asking all of my best friends to help me raise a minimum of $57 so that I can take the love of my life out to dinner. And in order to thank you for your support, I have invested my time in a number of special gifts. For a $1 donation, you can access an exclusive .mp3 file of a song I just made up and recorded inspired by recent events. For a $5 donation, I will email you or a loved one a personalized audio message of love, support, or encouragement. For a $10 donation, I will do an original drawing of whatever you want. This drawing can be made and delivered either electronically or acoustically. For $15, you can procure one of my Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super
His
action
confusion
figures,
about the
which
modes
I
of
have
the
never
internet
before
is
released
very
to the public, and which are in very
boomer.
good condition. Each action figure will also include a handwritten poem in cursive about how strong that character is. If you don't know how to read cursive, you may also request printing. For $34, you can have every single one of the heretofore mentioned gifts, as well as an autographed dollar bill. For anyone nervous about how your money
An
will
autographed
be
dollar
spent,
bill.
I will be
Can anyone
using
get the
Jeff
autographed dollar bill?
Bezos'
That was the
state-of-the-art iPhone technology to create
Can you pay my
photographic
bills?
and videographic evidence of the food that we eat. When we pay for the meal, I will count out the dollar bills live on camera. So you can rest assured that every dollar we raise together is spent on a fancy dinner with the love of my life, whose name I will not be revealing for privacy reasons. Thank you for your support.
No idea who she could be. Not in the least.
Not in the least. Totally
Not in the
had
least.
doxed himself multiple times. Yep.
We gotta get that stinger in at the end, too.
Good to see that free Stockroach is still going strong.
Of course. Of course. So what this leads us to, of course, is a very real Indiegogo campaign that raised $198
Oh, that's
for
cute.
a romantic dinner for two. Now, I did not get I got into Stockroach, I think, just after the campaign had ended. Otherwise, I would have absolutely participated. But this is really kind of fascinating, I think, if nothing else, because I don't think I've ever seen an ARG that has done an Indiegogo campaign as a part of the story. You know, there have definitely been ARGs that have been funded by Indiegogo or by, you know, Kickstarter or whatever else. But as a matter, like as a story artifact and a plot beat, this is the first time I've ever seen this.
It is quite a unique use of the platform. And I think he might have been slightly lucky, or maybe it just got buried, because there's been like campaigns for people to buy someone like potato salad.
Oh yeah,
on,
that's
like,
a famous
Kickstarter
campaign.
that got like it's a super famous campaign. And then there's other ones that are just like meme campaigns that get a lot of money. So it's like it's kind of good that he didn't, because I feel like that would be like 198 is more than the 57,
Mm-hmm.
but like it's also not ridiculously more, because I feel like if it was super more, he'd have a problem finishing the game, because he'd have to do all this stuff for that campaign. If he
Yeah.
actually does the stuff for the campaign, I don't actually know.
He did. There are signed dollar bills and audio messages. He actually did send the action figures out with the poems. I don't have access to any. I think maybe some of them have been posted in the Vehemence Discord server, which is more reason for you to join the Vehemence Discord server. But chat, what are you doing? Why haven't you joined it yet? But you know, it is like fantastic. Like all the rewards were followed through with, no matter how absurd they may seem. I mean, and part of that is that he did a really good job of selecting rewards that were doable. You know, like really genuinely, there's not like you know, making one song for the campaign. Okay, cool. The audio message, that doesn't take that long to record, all things considered. The electronic drawing will take some time, but you know, it's still like doable, especially if you're not expecting like thousands of people to join us or to join the campaign, right? And you only had 10 backers, so it works out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not too much labor then.
No, not at all, I don't think. And the signed dollar bill is cool, as well as all the other stuff. But again, it doesn't take that much effort to pull a dollar bill out and sign it. And when you put all this stuff together, it's like, yeah, for doing all this for 10 people, that's a lot of work. And setting up the campaign. But each individual goal is not so bad on its own. You know, this isn't something that I imagine took took like a year to distribute. I think everything's been distributed by now, and it's, God, how old is this campaign? Like a couple months? I think a couple months. Yeah, this was all back in September. So right about when we got started was when this was ending.
There you go. We are slightly relevant.
Yeah, we're almost relevant.
Slightly relevant.
Look at that cat.
Oh, yeah. You want to go? Yeah, you can go. You didn't care about me coming back. You just wanted to see my cats.
They cared about you coming back. It's a big deal. It's good to have you here again. Your commentary is always fantastic. I love that he still thinks iPhones are owned by Jeff Bezos.
I mean, aren't they?
I mean, isn't everything? But yeah, I mean, so yeah, taking all that together, is there anything you guys want to comment on about this sort of thing?
Not that I can think of right now.
You can kind of. Oh, my cat is being. Okay, he's fine. Like it's an interesting use of the platform, and it's also kind of contradicting the whole I am smart stockbroker man, because smart people don't click on bad viruses that gets rid of their Bitcoin. In theory, anyone can get ransomware, but
yeah, of course, of course.
But it's just kind of like I did a dumb and clicked a virus that obviously kind of looked like a virus. But
what is going on with your nameplate with all your roles is showing over your thing? Fix that. Yeah, no, well, plus he's very like he's very resistant to help, and yet here, you know, here's the actual help. You know, I think this is a big change for the character.
Yeah, maybe having a little more grace, a little more humility.
Yeah,
right.
It takes a lot to like step out of that, and especially to ask for money, you know.
Yeah, and he's definitely kind of went from like super arrogant, kind of knowing everything, and then you got that arc when I was leaving, where it was like, oh, I was in the hospital for something. I don't know if we figured that out, but for something he was in the hospital, and you can kind of see he was up and then he was low, and now he's kind of like, okay, well, I'm gonna try to get better and ask for help and that kind of stuff. A mental health journey per se.
Yeah, a Bildungsroman for the world. For those who don't know, that's just a fancy word for a coming of age story. Yeah. So no, absolutely. And well, we do know that all we know really about the trip is that he thought it was COVID and that he's definitely wearing a neck brace. So those two things don't really track, but yeah, you know, we've seen the neck brace. I mean, it's in this video too that you see, or the previous video where you see his neck brace. Yeah. I love the Miyazaki and Ash Ketchum, and it's just,
it's perfect.
It's absolutely perfect. It really couldn't be any better.
It's exactly what a 16-year-old would do.
Yeah. Also, like the camera angles, including and the zoom in and stuff. This one was very like if people didn't think that this was like an ARG, I feel like this video is what trips or flips people's like, wait, no, this guy's definitely tongue-in-cheek sort of thing, because
script.
because it's like, oh, this guy's just a kid and he's just kind of stupid, and then you get this vid and you're like, no, there's someone who's actively making a funny thing,
Yeah.
because no one is going to be like, I have bitcoins that's worth $1 million, and then purposely zoom in on the worth. So like that kind of stuff. And I don't know if it was a purposeful. It's definitely just to be funny, but it's also helps the people who don't realize it's an ARG to realize it's an ARG, or something like someone making a fun thing rather than a real person.
Yeah, and if somebody asks me like which episode, if I'm only going to watch one episode of Stockroach, which one should I watch so that I understand the series? I would give them this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems kind of it seems like the most straightforward narratively out of everything we've seen.
Yeah,
that makes sense, right? Like it's very much about like recapping everything that's already happened.
And I think it fits really well. Like, I mean, when you're trying to make a Kickstarter or Indiegogo campaign video, which is a really, really hard thing to do, by the way. I've done this once way, way, way long ago to raise some money for our first robotics team. And it is genuinely very hard to fit into their, like, what they want out of, like, the medium of these kind of campaigns. It makes sense that some of the sort of stuff that we would see on YouTube kind of goes away in favor of what is ultimately a higher production value. I think the animations look good. They look crisp.
Yeah, the pans, the zoom ins, it's nice.
Yeah. No, it's great. In fact, like I've fucked around with using Stockroach in my rhetoric and composition classes to try and like talk a little bit about multimodality or those sorts of things, you know, not going into the full thing, but like saying, oh, let's watch this one thing. And how is this person like referencing the mediums that they're engaging with, right? And I had tried some earlier episodes with some success, but I really feel like this is like a great window into this series if you were going to use it to like try and teach something about how we interact with technology, you know?
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's great. So let's push forward. So this campaign is like definitely the big thing as far as Stockroach stuff goes for a really, really long time. Like this is for the duration of the rest of the series. This is kind of the big deal. And so the next 3 episodes are all like update videos. They're all short. We can take them all together.
Sure.
This one's just surprise face, surprise face, surprise face. Woo.
All right, what's up, my grubs? So, I knew without a doubt when I started this campaign that the money grubs were going to turn out to support me. But what I didn't know is that this campaign would go viral and we would meet our goal in less than 24 hours. Check this out. $67. And the number of backers also continues to grow. Right now we are at we're at almost 7 backers. We're just a couple donations away.
Almost 7
from reaching 7
Almost
backers.
7.
And
What does that mean?
Anybody
I don't know.
on the whole internet that can pull these kind of numbers in less than 42 hours. But we do still have a few days left to go in the campaign. So let's see if we can keep this momentum going. And I do want everybody to know that no matter how much money we raise, if it's $100, if it's $1 billion, if it's $100 billion, literally every single dollar is going to be spent on camera on my date with Ashley.
Yeah, that didn't last very long, did it?
That's okay. You know what? I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna bleep out her name. So.
Yes, I need to pause that. All right. Dear Diary, I'm trying to think of what I should do if I raise over $1 million for my date with Ashley. I was thinking about maybe getting a helicopter to fly to the restaurant, but I'm a little worried about the wind messing up my hair. Maybe a hot air balloon would be better? Or maybe I should borrow my mom's car and spend $1 million on getting it covered in gold. That would probably make her less mad about the scratch, but I don't know. It's a lot of confidence right there.
A lot of confidence.
But it seems like his understanding of like numbers is very much, and money is like, do I have more than I can imagine what to do with? That's $1 million, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
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 And-
There's no sense of scale there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which, to be fair, also not something that I had at that age.
I was gonna say most adults don't either.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
I really.
it's like, I don't know, at that age, well, he's like 14 or 15, is that what it is? Or
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, I could get like my head around $1,000, but even today, when someone goes, when you get your refund checks of like $5,000 from like student aid, you're like, wow, that's a lot of money, and then you realize it's not a lot of money, and it makes you sad.
Yeah, I think like the funny thing is that the upward side is also true. Like, I know that we make like garbage, but like my brain also can't wrap my head around making more than I do right now, you know? I'm like, what would I do with it? I don't know, buy more Stockroach merch? I don't know, you know? Where the answer is, you
It's
know,
like-
being able to survive a little bit more than just paying rent.
Yeah, me and Eli talk about what we would do if we like won the lottery. We both went pay off our student debts,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
buy a house,
Hmm.
pay off siblings' student debt. Like our like main, it's like just everyone doesn't get any debt. No one
Mhm.
gets the debt.
Yep.
Which says a lot about our current generation.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That the first thought is get rid of the student debt. So.
Well, and like, you know,
Eli.
especially since we've been dangled the little carrot by Joe Biden of canceling some student debt, you know?
He never said that he's like, if that is what the legislator wants, he's very much like,
He's
I
trying
will-
to distance himself from it.
Yeah.
or he's just not trying to use the executive branch like the previous president, he who shall not be named. He's just like, I will sign off on it if it shows up.
Yeah, but it has been like, it was thrown out on the campaign trail and whatnot. And I feel like, you know,
Oh, yeah.
regardless of, you know, obviously we're aware of how awful student debt is because we're living it. But like, I feel that I would not be as concerned about it if it was not in the news cycle as constantly as it is. And I think that's in part because of that carrot that got thrown out there at one point.
And you see like the regulations coming down, and you see like Navient,
Yeah.
freaking Navient, and other loan providers dipping out of the student loan thing, and you're like, oh, okay. And then my husband's loans are through Navient, so I'm like, well, what does he do?
Yeah.
Like, like who is his new loan owner and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
'Cause-
see how much loans are like shopped around, and it's really weird to
Mhm.
see loans like, oh, we sold off your debt to someone else. And it's like, why? How? How does this make sense? Financial markets don't make sense to me, especially loans.
Well, it's a good thing you have the Stockroach to inform you about all things financial markets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And it's like they're like, "We'll forgive $50,000 worth of debt," and I'm like, "Oh, so not even half of the debt that I owe."
Yeah. I mean, that's what it comes down to, too. Like, you know, it's like
But that would help the
Any-
majority of people.
any cancellation feels great because it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh man, that's less debt. But I mean, is it a drop in the bucket, you know? Or is it even going to affect people? Because there are some people who just have privatized loans. And
Private loans,
that's
like,
not going to work for them.
People get sold privatized, like, oh, consolidate your student loans through these private loaners, and they're not very upfront with the fact that these are not federal loans. They cannot be forgiven.
Yeah.
They are loans. So
Yeah.
that's why you refinance with the government, friends. That's why you consolidate your student debt with the government.
Yeah. It's just a nightmare.
We should say this is not financial advice.
Hashtag
Do not take financial
advice.
advice from us. We are
No.
not. You should not do that.
Are we gonna sell cryptocurrency now that we've said the line? Every crypto shill says this is not financial advice, but buy this token.
Have you thought about Hexcoin? Oh,
Have you
man.
thought
God.
about what's the one that's like supposed to be
No.
the new Dogecoin?
Groovy
Flockcoin,
Lobster.
I think?
Yeah, I think you're right. Ruby Lobster, you can't you can't do it. I mean,
Go,
you can
Groovy
do it,
Lobster,
but don't do
go.
it because we said it.
You go to bankruptcy court. Why did you think this was a good idea? 3 graduate students from UWM told me to do it
On a stream.
on a stream about Stockroach. No, say Stockroach said it, because yeah.
Yeah. We don't want that.
God.
We don't want that on us.
The lost ark of Stockroach.
Refinancing his student loans. That he doesn't even have this in high school.
Yes. All right. Let's go forward.
So if you
Let's
hear
continue.
a bleeping sound,
You gotta learn to tie a tie.
That's,
I also had to teach
that
myself how to
is,
tie a tie, and I'm still not very good at it. I'll be
anyway.
honest.
Oh, I still can't do it.
Thank you for your support.
I can, because the grocery store I worked at required ties.
Yeah, that's it. Stockadoodle.
Why do they
Oh.
require ties?
I forgot about that. I forgot about that.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that breaks me. That's it. I'm done. Oh, I'm done. The stream's over. That's so funny.
Guys,
Oh
I don't
my
know if you know
God.
who his crush is. This is very high school, because I used to, I wouldn't do this, but I would like write in fancy cursive all over my notebooks of my crushes.
Oh.
And it was one of the main reasons why I learned cursive, is so I could make fancy calligraphy of crushes and things.
Oh, God. I'm so glad I'm not in that age anymore.
Yeah, me too. I don't miss high school, and I don't
guys-
miss cringe.
Did you guys do like first name, last name sort of things? I knew a lot of girls used to do that.
Mm-mm.
So, like, oh, I'm gonna be. Oh no, I have to think of last names. Morgan Chachakovich, you know, right in cursive. I was like, I can't actually say any of the high school last names. 'Cause
Oh my God.
they're real people.
I'm just setting this up so we can keep talking about this. But yeah, no, I think like
Ashley Roach. Yes, Julie Lobster.
Ashley
Ashley
Roach. Ashley Roach. God. The Stock Elliott and Ashley Roach. This is
Ashley.
great. The Stock Ashley.
I'm Stock Ashley is provided by Getty's Image.
No. Getty's Image. How about Jeremy's Image?
Hey.
Hey, this is layers deep.
Oh.
No, but yeah, I mean, I think I like drew some fan art of stuff that had kind of, you know, some associations with real world people, but I got pretty cringy there. I think the cringiest thing I did in high school was like in like private chat servers, role play different sort of fan fiction community stuff.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Oof.
I
I've
Now,
done that too.
luckily, none
I
of
used
that's
to role play a
published on
lot.
the web, but you know.
Let's hope so.
My first
I
poetry
used-
blog is on the web, and that thing is cringe, but I don't know where it is, and I cannot remember how to get to it. And my attempts to find it have come up fruitless, so I'm not actually sure it's still out there.
It's probably for the best.
Yes.
Me and my best friend and a few others. It was mostly me and my best friend. Have a pro board for role playing. And at some point we went back and read some of it, and oh, it was bad. Now this wasn't fan fiction; these were all of our original characters, which made it worse because all of them were edgelords. Because
Oof.
all of them were like, he comes from a sad family, killed by demons.
Sasuke!
we were all demon hunters.
Sasuke!
Demon hunters in high school. Gifted Academy role plays.
Oh, so Blue Exorcist, my bad. That's
We were never ninjas.
never ninjas. Okay. I think I think I did a lot of Soul Eater RP because I really liked the universe of Soul Eater, and I still do. I think it's really cool.
Soul Eater role plays are like.
Plus, it was like interesting narratively to have 4 people role playing at once instead of 2.
Yeah, like form role playing that you can role play all the kind of stuff. And
Yeah, where you have one person like sure the person who's playing, like, if you don't know how the Soul Eater world works, by the way, David, the idea is that you have weapons and people who handle weapons, and the weapons are actually people who turn into weapons. The people who handle weapons are called Meisters. So you have, if you're doing like a battle between 2 people and you're role playing that out, you have 4 people who are trying to keep track of the narrative. and making their own independent actions, but also having to like kind of tag team their narrative beats. And that was always what was kind of interesting about it for me, is it was a fun like conceptual writing challenge. Not to say I didn't do a bunch of cringy shit while I was doing it, but like I still love that idea in terms of like if you were gonna do like a role-playing server in like a serious way, having like two people who are writers who have to work together, and two people who are writers who have to work together, but those two groups don't actually have to work together. You can kind of yell at each other across the way. There could be like a good D&D quest in that or something.
I think
I
text roleplay is a disregarded art form.
Yeah.
I like text roleplay. I've always liked I text roleplayed all the way through college. And there's people on Final Fantasy who roleplay, and there are people who do erotic roleplaying, and there's people who just roleplay.
Yeah.
Usually slice of life stuff.
Gotcha. No shame if people do erotic roleplay. It's just not. It's not my fare.
Like I have no. I don't care if you're all consenting and you're not doing weird Lalafell play, because that can
just don't. Yeah.
Lalafell. But it's not a thing.
No, seriously. No,
oh God. Oh God.
Like I don't care. Like people in my FC are like, oh, they're role players. Like no, they can role play all they want. Dude, they're like role playing as a cat cloud version of themselves. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, Lalafells, you can get into the CP realm because Lalafells look so young. So don't do that. This is advice. Don't do that.
I'm glad. Sometimes these discussions pop up, and I'm glad we have the NSFW filter on our streams. Yeah, well, I mean, and also I think they fall into the same bin as a lot of other fan craft, where it's like, you know, this isn't an art form because it's fan shit, and that's not prestige. But I mean, there are probably still a lot of like thriving Discord. I imagine Discord for like the text RP community was like a big step forward in certain respects.
I feel like if I had like has a similar impact as like what we were talking about, like forums, Discord. Yeah. That kind of stuff, because like there's archiving issues. Yeah. I think, as well as like the ability to. I'm trying to think of a good way of saying, like, people interjecting in the conversation if they're allowed to, then you get really lost in the narrative.
Oh, yeah.
If they're just like, oh, that's funny. It's like, no, wait, no, okay. But I don't know. I haven't actually seen them working. That's a good ethnographic.
Yeah, it'd be cool. An ethnography of Discord text RP communities. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Similar to, it could probably borrow a lot from the MUD communities.
Mm-hmm.
Not MUD.
Well, no, that's MUD.
Yeah, MUD. Yeah. I had the right idea. I was like, is that the right acronym? But
yeah, multi-user dungeons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
That's a deep cut.
You know, I had a lot of the like MMO genre, like a lot of the virtual community stuff is based on the MUD stuff, because the MUDs were the first ones, and so
yeah, that makes sense. All right, let's get through
everything on the internet. You look at like a 1999 book and you're like, wow, this is really outdated because it's the internet, and then you read what their predictions are, or like where they saw the trends going, or what the internet was and what they wanted the internet to be in the 1990s, and you'll be like, oh yeah, I can see that in 2020.
Yeah. It's really funny actually that you say that, and I'll say this and then we can get back to what we're doing. But because the previous, like if you look back further, a lot of the things that you can see that people wanted the internet to be didn't end up being what it was, you know? Like there's something about the predictions pre the point where people start realizing, oh, this is going to be kind of commercialized on some level, tend not to have followed through at all. And I think that's kind of for the worse. There's like a spark of hope in some of that early utopian stuff where it's like, you know, oh, we could solve so many problems with this, and I don't really know that we've ended up there.
Yeah, a lot of the utopian thoughts. But the thing is, like, you can see those utopian information spreading, all this kind of stuff, in the rhetoric of platforms. You see Facebook, you see Twitter saying, oh, it'll be this great. Like, pull those wants from the 90s like into the present, be like, oh, it's going to be this utopian, everyone can post themselves, it's going to be great, all this user generated content. But that's not actually what the platform is.
No,
Yeah.
of
It's
course
just
not.
rhetoric.
Ooh.
It's just a selling point. They use it as a selling point, and everyone wants the internet to be that, and so they fall for it and win. Then you get like the lawyers who are talking about copyright issues back in the like Lawrence Lessig, I think. Yeah. He talked a lot about like back in the 1990s or early 2000s, like copyright's going to be an issue, law's going to be an issue, and it's going to be an issue.
Oh yeah.
And it is an issue. And
It's
I
a
was like,
big
thank you,
fucking issue.
Lessig, for just popping everyone's bubble.
Yep.
So
All right.
I think it was Lessig. I might be incorrect about that.
Rolling through the rest of this updates. God, this is pretty awesome.
7 banners. 2 likes on Twitter. Flexible goal. Viral. Explosions. Searching on Bing.
Yes.
Bing.com.
Bing.com.
Which could be accessed by
Imagine
searching
using
Bing.com.
Bing.
Hey, sometimes Bing yields better results than Google just because of the saturation of Google.
All right. And now, the other updates.
The countdown.
All right, what's up, Money Grubs? We are coming down now to the last.
This one's a little
minutes
quiet.
of This fundraiser. We got 4 minutes left and 48 seconds, and it looks like 2 milliseconds or one. It's changing, so it's hard to say. But this number has been going up and up in the most amazing way. It's 163 right now. When I checked earlier, it was just. Earlier today it was actually the same number. It was 163, but I think that was just a glitch because it is getting higher and higher and higher in ways that I can't believe. And I wanted to take a minute to re-imitate to you guys that every single dollar that you have helped me raise is going to be spent on my date this weekend. It's going to be the most amazing day. I might spend a couple dollars buying a tie beforehand, or maybe a helicopter, but it depends on how much we end up raising by the end of the night. And yeah, I would love to stay up and watch the clock run down and count down, which I assume the entire world is doing right now, glued to your computer screens like I was earlier today. But I have to get some sleep tonight. I have to pick my outfit and everything tomorrow, so I'm kind of stressing out.
Picking your outfit.
So I just wanted to take a quick minute here to say 2 things to all the Money Grubs. Number 1 is thank you, and number 2 is stockadoodle-doo.
You may notice that there's a bunch of like Soot Sprite books related stuff here as well. Yeah, so another thing I forgot to mention, the Night Roach keeps sending more poetry stuff through the contact form of the Soot Sprite books page, and that will come back in 34 Sonnets by T.S. Roach. So it's important to know. But it's just kind of drizzled in here as kind of a thing that, you can notice. I didn't notice it on the first run, but, I also was kind of watching this very quickly. Yeah. So yeah, when we go to get into like the actual outcome of the fundraiser and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, also it is interesting that like, I find this something I come back to a lot when I'm talking about the internet and like what people thought the internet would be versus what it actually has kind of become, is that like there is something. It's always fun, like in spite of the rhetoric and whatever else that's going on when it relates to this sort of stuff. I think it really is genuinely great that some of the unpredictable outcomes that have kind of come to pass. Like I don't think anybody would have imagined that a series like this could exist 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
it might have fantastic that it does.
Yeah, it might have been like a similar story, right? But the way it's being told is different.
Well, yeah.
Right? The affordances of the platform allow for these different forms and formats, and that then changes how the story is, right? What the story does.
Yeah, I can't remember where I put it, that paper about JR that Stuart gave me because he thought it sounded similar to this. But yeah, I mean, like that's a story about a young person becoming becoming a billionaire and then kind of running around and doing billionaire things. So there's this kind of American mythos around that, I think. But like the way that this plays with identity and anonymity, I don't think that. I mean, I hazard a guess that like there's my experience with early internet content is that the anonymity is assumed, and that's not like, this is very much a post social media piece of art, where anonymity is not something that we're taking for granted. Negotiating anonymity is really important here.
And I definitely think there's a level of my brain just stopped working. Their level of privacy, their level of like what you can and cannot see. Like when he's showing like bits and pieces of his computer and things, we pick up on like, oh, that's bad to show, and that's bad to show, and that's bad to show. And I think that's a lot different than what someone in 1990s would think is an issue. Like showing like showing even like your email on stream, it's like, oh, that's you shouldn't do that. Because like you said, privacy is not assumed on the internet, and you have to make like a concerted effort to hide who you are. A lot of like there's particularly an old Minecrafter that's still producing content that is very careful about his identity. You only know him as Exuma. There's no time that you've seen his face. There's no time that you know what his actual name is. He's only X or Exuma. Like, he's very careful about what he shows, how he talks about it. And, like, he's very personable on stream. Like, he says, like, oh, I was having a mental health day and all that kind of stuff, but picks and chooses what he says. You know he's from England because he has that accent. And you can actually pinpoint where he's from because, English accents are like that. But he's like, I went to the gym, and you're like, oh, okay, but you're never going to be able to pinpoint or find him.
Right.
The only time another older YouTuber like that is Etho, but Etho has a very specific voice. So many people have said, I have heard Etho, but I could not recognize him because I heard him in a crowd, and like, so it's one of those things. The needing to make a private identity is necessary rather than in the 90s you kind of just were anonymous.
And I think that earlier mentality towards the internet, that pre-social media mentality, is in some ways why This Is Not a Game is stuck around for so long in the medium. I think it like really we are now in a point with ARGs where they're being done on these social media platforms, and if you want to construct a bunch of fake identities, it's easier than ever. But on the other hand, maintaining them is very difficult. And it's something that we, have to negotiate as creators often. How much do we want to maintain the veil? Where, without going, the opposite is almost true of like a pre-social media internet, where you have to really go out of your way to dox yourself to break that This Is Not a Game space. I think that I wonder often if the medium was, instead of created in the early internet days, created now, if people would feel the same adherence to TNAG as they do,
What's TNAG?
That's the shorthand for This Is Not a Game.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah.
I did not make that connection. I definitely think it would be different, because it's much more, you can see that it's a game in a way, like the way that things are constructed platform wise, you can see how constructed it is to interplay and to be here and there in this network of things, rather than on the old internet. Like when this was made, like the early 2000s, Google was there so you could search things easily, but they weren't all just a miasma of platforms. There was forum sites, there was this site, there was that site. Like you had to go find them. Whereas this ARGs kind of just exists on social media, sort of thing,
Yeah, it's the hosting is easier in a sense, but in some ways, yeah. I mean, it makes me wonder if sometimes I get into conversations with older ARG players, and I throw out my whole I don't feel that this is not a game is essential for the medium thing, and I get a lot of pushback from older folks about that. And I really think really wonder if the mentality of a player in the early 2000s is just something that's completely inaccessible to me.
I don't know. Well, it's also, I think it's natural. You have this weird thing where medium specificity is very important to the people that consume it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, the whole thing with video games and the rise of the indies in the late 2010s, right?
Yeah.
And because the dominant people feel threatened by others. I'm not saying this is what the individuals you're speaking to are doing, right? But if you're pushing the boundaries of a genre, no matter what that genre is, there will be people who, for one reason or another, whether it's because of their hegemonic position within the genre or the medium, or because of their own experience with the medium, resist that pushback, right? Or that blurring of the boundaries. So for some people, having that strict definition is absolutely vital to their own engagement with the medium.
Yeah, like when people say, and going back to your point, Ren, of not being able to put yourself in the realm of the 2000s, it is especially even thinking back to when social media for me wasn't a thing. I was on 3 websites, so it's not like I can be like, oh, I knew how ARGs worked, or I knew how to operate on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
I was 5.
Yeah.
I was on Neopets and AOL Music. Those were the 2 sites that I was on when AOL Music was a thing. Rest in peace. But it's how you can't even understand how different people engage with the internet. Because when someone goes, oh, I was on Twitter, and then they posted over here, and then they did that, did this, I'm still not on Twitter. I'm still not on Reddit very often. I have 3
I'm not a
subreddits
big
that I
Reddit
will
person.
read. So when someone engages with an ARG like Stockroach or Stockroach or any ARGs that's based on Reddit, or moves from Reddit to other places and kind of meanders around like that, I can't even understand that, because the internet as a medium is very personalized to you. The platforms want you to do things on the internet their way, but most times people they use the internet the way they do, and it's completely different than someone else uses the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've learned a lot about how to engage with different media sites and how they work from these games. I mean, it's you kind of have to have a pretty strong understanding of how the platform works to produce a good ARG on a particular platform.
Yeah.
So it stands to reason in some respects that there's some media literacy gained by trying to understand how all these different mediums work well enough to leverage them. But
yeah, I wonder then if a multimodal legibility is something that's part of this. Right? It has to be intelligible. It has to be legible to your audience how all of these disparate elements connect. Right? You have this weird thing where you have an inherent paradox where you have to make a genre story that is diffuse enough to where it seems like it can't be solved, but then it has to be solved. Or in this case, solved might mean, right, there is no answer, right? But it has to be something that's legibly been able to engage with, and that your audience can be able to understand how it works across platforms. Right? So it has this interesting thing where the blurring of genre and medium is vital to it, but it also has to be legible how these are being blurred. Right? So in a sense, it almost kind of reinscribes the differences of these different platforms, only because it requires platform legibility. But at the same time, it's blurring, right? Derrida, difference, if you want.
Stuck in this weird moment between the two.
You're making bridges, but you also have to be aware of the 2 endpoints of the bridges to make that bridge viable.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's better, right? It's not a blur, it's a bridge, which I like better. I think it's a better metaphor for what this is doing.
It's a strange game.
Generally do.
You're especially since you're walking to these other platforms. You're going to these other platforms just to go back and be pointed in all these different directions and that kind of stuff. It's a big network,
Mhm.
series of tubes, per se.
Pneumatic tube ARG. I definitely play that. Want more pneumatic tubes? They're very fun.
I just want someone to make like a London Underground ARG and just call it series of tubes.
That's great. Be amazing. All right. So let's keep moving through. This is the Night Roach stuff. Though I'm sure you could tell from my movie 5. All of this is providing context to something we're really building towards. So if you're looking at these animations and going, I don't understand what's going on here, that is okay. In a lot of ways, though, these pieces end up visualizing the artistic process of the Stockroach, you know? Just because they're visualizing the act of creation. It's hard. You can't get away from the internal when you're doing that, I think. Morgan, you're gonna see him do the thing. I wasn't sure you would, but here it is. Imagine being on the other end of this contact form.
Oh no.
It's hard enough to get emails from your students. I can't imagine.
I get so little emails now, like I see email pop up like, oh, what is that? Oh. Okay. All right then.
So there you go. My movie 5. And now these are all one big long, like the next like 4 are one big chunk. So we're just gonna do them back to back.
Hey, what's up, Money Grubs? So first of all, sorry it took me like a whole day to do a fundraiser recap video. I just feel like I've had a lot to process right now. Just like yesterday when I looked at the fundraiser, it was at $163. And then I looked again today, and it was at almost at over $200, which is really amazing. And like now I'm trying to think, like, how are we gonna spend that much money at one restaurant at one time? Because like we're not gonna order wine, obviously, because like we're not 21, or she's not 21. I am 21. Obviously, I'm middle-aged. I mean, she's not. She's middle-aged too.
Oh,
We're both over 21.
Dig that hole.
Middle-aged. I don't know why I said that. I misspoke. But yeah, I'm just trying to figure all that out. So I'm out here with one of my son's dogs.
Hey, champ.
I have a lot of sons, and they have a lot of different dogs. So this is just one of them. But I just thought it would be kind of peaceful to take a look at the water and just kind of relax and process and just, you know, do something peaceful. Oh no!
Yes.
No.
Hey, what's up, Money Grubs? I got some great news for you. I was able to get my iPhone dried off again. I did the bag of rice trick. You can see this is the bag. That's the rice that I used. And I guess I'm done with it now, so I'm gonna put this.
Oh, this is the worst. This is the biggest sin that he commits. Oh no! Oh, I can't stand that.
The rice?
He puts the fucking computer rice.
I'll just leave the
back
bag
in
for
the
now.
fucking rice
But
container.
the iPhone is now completely dry, so let me just turn this around. Sorry, it's kind of hard to get the camera to point at the phone. Here, let me actually get a...
Oh, he's trying.
Yeah, this should work better.
Okay.
So there you can see the phone is completely... Let me try this side. The phone is completely dry. It is working again in very
It's a
good
great
shape.
shot, though.
And that means I will be able to do a video
It's
from
like the
restaurant.
It's the
tomorrow.
updated
So
version
I
of
will
the
see
guy
you
holding
then,
the orb.
and
The
stockadoodle.
self-reflection.
Yes. Oh my god.
It's the spoon reflection.
I got all the money.
Here we go.
What's up, Money Grubs? So I'm getting ready for the big day right now. I just went to the ATM and I got all the money out in cash.
I think those are. Oh yeah, cut off shorts. Yeah. Short jean shorts.
What's up, Money Grubs? So I just want to let you know that I've decided to wear watermelon colored shirt tonight. So I'm looking for a tie that's gonna go good with like a watermelon color. I think I got a couple pretty good options here.
Take a black tie.
Hey, Money Grubs. So a little change of plans. I ended up going to Goodwill to get a tie. It was a little cheaper. It was $8. But they have a lot of good ties there. I think that's why they put good in the name. But it looks really good with my watermelon colored shirt.
It's great. The watermelon colored shirt.
There's the watermelon shirt. And there's the tie. And
it's just a watermelon shirt. It's not a color.
I'll let you know how things go. Hey, what's up, Money Grubs? This is Stockroach. So I got some bad news. The restaurant I wanted to go to was actually booked up, so I had to go somewhere else. But I found this place. I think it's kind of nice. I don't really know, but it has shrimp on the menu, so I think it's pretty good. But I'm just waiting. Oh, she's here.
This is like one of my favorite parts of the series is just seeing this slideshow.
All right, Money Grubs. So my date went to the bathroom for a sec, so I think it's time for the big moment. Hey, Money Grubs. So we were doing a little walk through the park, but I found a Wi-Fi hotspot. So I told her I was gonna go check my stocks, which is true. I am checking my stocks, but I also am gonna put this video together real quick and upload it for you. But I just wanted to let you know that in addition to the $198 that we raised on the fundraiser, I also had a couple donations that came through on PayPal, and so I bought this. Anyway, I'm gonna put the video up in a sec, and then I will update you on how everything goes when I get home in like an hour, or maybe like an hour and a half if it goes really well. I don't know. Anyway, this is stockadoodle.
He took his laptop on a date.
Oh gosh.
Yep. And now,
oof.
I mean, what can you say?
Seconds.
What can you say to the Stockroach on that front, dude?
Don't.
I'm so glad that he got to have this date, though.
He did have a date.
Yep. So, not expounded on or anything, but there's no date recap video.
Probably did not go well then.
And finally, then we get this as well. And I will say it, Stockroach is now officially the most important part of the series from here on out.
Okay.
So we have... and to answer Tromboner's question, I absolutely have no idea whether he meant watermelon colored or watermelon colored. That will forever be the lingering mystery of Stockroach, won't it? So yeah, if you go into his Twitter, it's like he got some favorite T-shirt color, or favorite shirt color probably, solicitations beforehand. And then really like there's just not a lot of stuff left, believe it or not, in the Twitter. Really, he stops tweeting for a bit, or I shouldn't say that. His tweets become more less focused on the series until we get to the goodbye tweet. So, or less focused, and there's less of them per se. So here we go. We got about not that much more to go, all things considered. This is I'm Not That Girl.
Oh, God.
This song connects to me recently. I have no idea why. Are you familiar with this song, David?
This is from Wicked.
Is it really? I've never seen Wicked.
You should. It's good.
It's fun.
It's fun.
I'm turning it down
good,
so we can
but
talk.
It's fun.
Is it?
The music's good.
Okay.
Hands touch, eyes meet, sudden silence, sudden heat, hearts leap in a giddy whirl. He could be that boy, but I'm not that girl. Don't dream too far, don't lose sight of who you are. Don't remember that rush of joy. He could be that boy. I'm not that girl. Every so often we long to steal to the land of what might have been, but that doesn't soften the ache we feel when reality sets back in. Blithe smile, lithe limb, she who's winsome, she wins him. Gold hair with a gentle curl, that's the girl he chose, and heaven knows I'm not that girl. Don't wish, don't start, wishing only wounds the heart. I wasn't born for the rose and pearl. There's a girl I know, she loves her so. I'm not that girl.
What does that say? What does that say?
Michael says, "Hey, dude, can I talk to you about something?" Michael says, "Well, no." Yeah. And then,
oh no, I'm sorry. That's
here's his messages with Ashley. Ashley Perilla. Jay Gills, do you want to see The Jungle Cruise tomorrow? I heard it was so bad. Oh, by the way, I feel like there's something you were trying to tell me at the part, but then I like talked about myself for 2 hours. It's really nice to have someone to tell some things to. Are you there? Hey, are you there?
That's Ashley to him.
That's Ashley to him, yeah, and he's just not responding.
Ooh. See, I thought she wasn't happy, but something else is going on.
I can't say what clicked for me because it would be a spoiler, but I was confused about why he chose.
Play?
Yes, I was confused as to why he picked that song to use in this context. It's confused me the first time I watched it completely, but now that I've gone through the series once and I'm going through it again, it makes perfect sense. Oh my god, yeah, it just my brain exploded. But I can't tell you guys that until we get to the point where the thing is revealed that makes it make sense, because otherwise I'll have blown one of the bigger, most important parts of the series, in my view. So we get My Movie 3. It is a really good cover though, but and I didn't know it was from Wicked. I had no idea. I guess it goes to show that you know, ARGs can pull material from anywhere and throw them into this mix.
Wicked is such, like, it was really big in high school.
Yes.
Oh,
and
wow, really?
I think it's just really big in high school, the musical. It's really big in high school. High schoolers love it. Well, because it's all about, for for context, Ren, I suppose.
Okay.
Do you know what Wicked is about?
No, I have absolutely zero fucking idea.
Wicked is about the Green Witch from the Wizard of Oz going to Magic Academy and finding all of the other magic users that you meet in Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
And then it tells the story at that point about how the Green Witch became the Wicked Witch.
Okay.
And I believe I'm Not That Girl is sung by Wicked, the Wicked Witch.
It's sung by both her and Glenda. They both sing it because they're both like the same guy.
Yeah. And Glenda and her are friends. And then they not friends at the end of it.
I see.
Because
well, they still are kind of friends, but not really.
They're like, we're just on different paths. Yeah. I'll always think fondly of you, but I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna go.
This is gonna make when we get to the point in the series, I want to drop this and I want to come back to it when you hear the reveal because it's going to completely recontextualize everything you just said in a fascinating way. I am so excited.
By the way, the ones in the back of the movies from Night Roach, they're like, are they binary or are they just a bunch of ones and zeros? Because like one of them was 109, one of them was 101, and then I don't know if that has anything to do with anything.
I think they are all just binary strings. And I don't know that I don't know that it actually says anything.
Okay.
Although I have not tried and I have not seen anyone try. It would be very difficult to get all of them together because of how they're spliced. Usually it's boxes of a binary, like it's a PNG of binary overlaid on something, and then that PNG is laid on top of other PNGs to give it that kind of like mishmash look. That's how I imagine it was done.
I didn't know Wicked was getting a movie. I am hesitant.
That's fascinating.
But I also want like random cameos from the original cast, or like somehow referenced, and that'd be hilariously great. I also wanted to have Silver, like, yeah.
Here we are in the final sprint of the series. There's the Ancient Tale of Old. There's My Movie 2, My Movie 1. There's the Stockroach finale. There's Stockroach Forever, which will have the reveal I'm talking about. And then the season finale, which introduces the stockadoodle store, and that is it.
Wait, so the Night Roaches are backwards. They're uploaded 5 to 1.
Yeah.
So
it's a time loop. Time is a flat circle.
Maybe it's a time loop, or maybe Night Roach made all these things and then uploaded them, trying to sign the message 5 to 1.
No, it's just a countdown. One of the two. One of the many. So here's the Ancient Tale of Old.
Many grubs. This is the Stockroach. I don't really have anything going on today, but I guess I just wanted to share this question that a money grub asked me recently, which was basically like, what should you do if every single dream you've ever had kind of like falls apart all at the same time? And I thought this was a really interesting question as an investor because when you think about it, money is really just a big dream. It's just a dream that we're all having at the same time. So if you have any advice for the money grub who is in this situation, you can leave it in the comments and I'll pass it along to him or her, because we don't know if it's a guy or a girl who asked the question. But I was thinking, like, when I'm in a situation, I find a lot of comfort in the ancient tales of old. Like,
don't you, David?
There's this one story I know that is told all 100%. Over the world in almost every different culture. And it's a story about a lake, and the lake is filled all the way to the brim with the most beautiful blue water. And there's a fisherman who lives by the lake, and his favorite thing to do in the whole world is to go fishing in the lake. And in the version that I know, he always wears his favorite green hat. Maybe in the version you know, his hat is a different color. But he loves fishing by the lake. But the problem is that
like Legend of
where
Zelda?
he lives, it's so hot.
Definitely. I hadn't caught that.
He can
but
only
yes.
go fishing at night.
He has good taste.
Which is a problem because where he lives, it's also dark at night. Which is true where most people live. Unless you live in the southern hemisphere where it's dark during the day. But because it's dark at night, he can only go fishing by the light of the full moon. And so every single night he looks out his window because he has a little house pretty close to the lake, and he's like, oh, is it a full moon tonight? And if it's not a full moon, then he's like, okay, I'll just go back to bed. But if it is a full moon, then he goes out fishing in his boat. And the boat is shaped like this. And he loves to go fishing in his boat by the light of the full moon. And he loves it so much that he starts to think of the moon almost like maybe his best friend or one of his best friends. Like probably the moon is his second best friend next to his dog. Because in every version of the story, there's a lot of differences, but there's always a dog in the story. That's one of the things they all have. And obviously the dogs love fish. So if you're a fisherman, you want to have someone to share your fish with. So it's great to keep a dog around. Now the dog can really be any different kind of dog in the different versions of the story. In my version of the story, the dog is basically this color. But after a while,
orange.
When he's been fishing for a long time,
hey champ, how's it going?
Starts to realize that he's basically like literally actually in love with the moon. And so what he does is he buys the most beautiful... what he does is he takes all the fish that he has ever caught, and he has them all in one big pile. For 100 years he's been fishing, and he's put every single fish he's ever caught into a pile. And he takes all of these fish, and he takes them to the marketplace, and he buys the most beautiful ring that fish money can buy. And the ring is so beautiful that everyone who sees it cries, which is really just him and his dog who can see it. And what he does to give the ring to the moon is he ties it to the end of his fishing wire, and he winds up his arm, and he gets ready to throw it as high as he can so that it will go all the way up into the night sky, all the way up to the moon. And while he's winding up, he's about to throw the ring. The moon is like, hey, by the way, I'm actually not attracted to fishermen. And like, she doesn't say it all dismissive like that. Really, she's
you
more
getting
like,
it now?
hey, there's actually this other moon that I know, and you know her too, and I have a crush on her, and I think I'm in love with her. And it's not her fault, because she didn't know that he had a ring tied to his fishing stick, and he was about
I'm going to pause this for a second.
Throw it up.
And just say that, Trom, holy shit, I hope your kid is okay. That's, holy crap.
Oh no!
Oh my god. Thanks for coming.
Hope everything's okay.
Yeah. Whoa.
That's sad.
That being said, I guess let's keep going for now.
Up into the sky. But the fisherman is pretty cool about it. He's just like, cool, good for you. I'm really proud of you. But
I didn't remember
then
this
also
being
he has to
revealed
just
here,
like sit there for like an hour
is.
with a ring tied to the end of his fishing stick. So, what the question really is what should he do with the ring? Like, should he just throw it into the lake forever, or like should he tie it to his dog's collar? Maybe, like, I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it, that seems like a pretty good option. But the reason children have loved this story for generations is because it's like a riddle that you have to solve. Like, what should he do with the ring? So if you have any ideas for what he should do with the ring, or what you would do with the ring in your version of the story, you can let me know in the comments. And what this all has to do with investing is that when you do a drawing, sometimes you can sell that drawing to a museum for $1 billion, but you don't know how much you can sell your drawing for until you've done the drawing. So make sure to keep drawing every single day if you can, and I will be talking to you again pretty soon. All right, stockadoodle-doo.
Stockadoodle-doo. Yep.
So he's quite literally not that girl.
Yes. He is quite literally not that girl.
Well, 'cause I noticed when he was singing "I'm Not That Girl," he messed up because he didn't say, and one of the lyrics is like, "I'm not the one that he would choose," or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He said she at the he said she was like, he said she, and then he immediately corrected it to he. Like, oh, that's not the lyric. And like, oh, is that just like a slip, or is that like a Freudian slip sort of thing? Like,
yeah.
Hidden messages.
You said Freudian slip, and for a second it sounded like Furrian slip. And I was like, ooh.
Hey, if he gave the ring to the dog, that would be a Freudian slip.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, no. Champ.
Dumb.
Oh, that's a good one, though. Yeah, no, the first time I heard that, I was like, oh, man, like, so he's taking on, like, I was confused as to, like, because I didn't know the context with songs. So I was like, is he taking on female pronouns here? There seems to be some gender ambiguity, and I didn't really know what to do with it. And then now that I'm watching this through again the second time, it makes perfect sense, right? It's like, he's quite literally not that girl. And I think in, like, a direct way takes a song that is heteronormative and queers it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Which is fucking cool, actually.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's totally so cool. Like, by replicating this song as a musical number, because it's still a musical number here, in this ARG, the song is queer in a way that it's not in its original context, which is just, I mean, that's why my mind got exploded into a million pieces. So I was like, holy shit, that's rad. Mm-hmm. And it adds something for me to that I think I've been kind of missing in a lot of the queer theory that I've read, you know? Like, so much of queer theory that I've engaged with is like, things are queer, things aren't queer, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And that's not what this is, you know? It's a context sensitive thing. This thing becomes queer. This thing is not inherently queer, but in this context, it is, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm kind of surprised that it's not there. I mean, okay, I am not queer, so I will not begin to presume. But it seems very like it would make sense that there are a lot of heteronormal media and etc. things that can be adapted or re-identified and taken into a different context based on the queer community. I'm like, that makes total sense. That should be there, but it's interesting that there it's like, oh, this is not queer or it is queer.
The stuff I've read about that particular thing has been like, well, if we look at this, see, a lot of queer people engaged with this particular piece of art, so the art is queer. You know, this reading is prominent from the piece, so that makes the piece queer. Not the piece is queer in this context as viewers engage with it. That's like a totally different thing, you know? It places it creates like it places a different like I don't want to say ownership, but it recontextualizes what we're saying when we're writing like queer theory to be this thing about positionality in a way that I think a lot of the stuff I've read hasn't done, you know? And I'm not the most well-read person on queer theory. I think the most well-read person on queer theory here is David. So if I'm wrong, maybe I'm not reading the right queer theory.
Right.
But,
so
yeah.
right. So it's interesting, and I think this is part of the medium too. Is it user practice? Is it production practice?
Right.
Is it, is it something in between the two? So just as context, like I'm thinking of submitting for this trans game studies CFP. And instead of talking, I'm going to talk a little bit about Pokemon itself, but I'm going to talk particularly about these really strange linkages between Pokemon and Drag Race, and basically how like the production consumption practices around the two and the fan labor that connects them is like more trans, and that it's like transmedial, and also there's trans identities within it, right? So it's like it's I'm using trans more as like in how Gil Peterson it would like how we read the other week, where it's like more about linkages and kind of threads and strands going across and in between media rather than like within inherent in the media itself. I think ARGs add an interesting element of this, right? Because the narrative itself is cross and between media rather than in one single mediated product, right? So it's interesting that you're saying like this element queers Wicked, right? When in a way, without it being specifically about queer identity, it is constructing a narrative across media platforms that maybe some people might think of as a queer production. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it is about gay people, although there is a lesbian in this case, or somebody who's into women, right? But it's I think the queerness of it, I think, is most productive when you talk about the linkages rather than the entities themselves. You know what I mean? Like about the connections rather than the things as they are.
Well, and Stockroach is also like constantly throwing in our face that this character that we're dealing with is at least like adventuring with their sexuality and romantic tastes. You know, the I think the funniest part of it when it occurs is the images that get drawn of two guys kissing and two girls kissing. And then the fact that they kind of get like thrown in, he goes, no, I didn't mean to show you that. But like the character seems to be at least bisexual and is clearly trying to negotiate that. But then to see like this also, all of this stuff is like but it is about those linkages, right? Because even within the piece of media that we're seeing where it slips into, oh, well, here's this picture, what is actually like, sure, this is all in one video and we can read it as one work, or we can read those images as embedded texts because we as players can go to the DeviantArt page and just look at them as separate artifacts.
Yeah.
So you can engage with that particular thing that makes you go, oh, maybe this character is bi in like 3 or 4 different ways based on how you assemble the text or how people assemble the text. And that's I think where the linkages interestingly come in. It's also why ARGs are where the idea of the textual whole goes to die. But that's a different conversation. Yeah. Oh man, I really love that Wicked. Like the fact that Wicked song is like that episode, now it makes perfect sense in my brain, is like now up there on favorite things that is on this channel. God damn, that's good. Go ahead, Morgan.
Oh, I'm just interested because now I didn't know that Wicked was getting turned into a musical movie, and I'm like, how's that gonna go?
I wonder how. Like, I've never seen Wicked, but maybe I should see Wicked so I can understand the adaptation challenge there. Who knows?
It's one of those things that could be very easily adapted into a movie. It's not like Cats.
Gotcha.
I'll say that. It's not like Cats. It's very much like a linear story that makes complete sense. I'm just kind of like, are they gonna mess it up or are they not? That's the question.
So my movie 2 is a screen that you can brighten, and you might get something out of it. My movie 1 is more of this, so we can kind of talk over it as it goes. Yeah. Well, making musicals into movies is always somewhat difficult.
She's got a fork hand.
Yes.
She's an alien.
It's
Hello,
somewhat...
Jeremy. Ooh.
Yes. Oh, this is where...
Hello.
I may have lied, and there is actually a place in this to talk about like where the textual hole goes to die.
I could have made a very bad joke there. Okay.
Well, so be it. But like we're getting into, we have just, I mean, this whole ARG has gone layers and layers and layers of like meta. But we are about to dive off a fucking cliff at the end of this.
I like how there's harmonies.
Yes. I assumed the way this was actually accomplished was by recording these two things independently and then layering the videos on top of each other.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're seeing is really like several videos stopping and starting in Premiere, because I don't think it's physically possible to do this all as a single live performance.
No. I wouldn't think so.
Unless he had like because you can do it with certain pedal amp things that you can buy, right? People do live people do live performances where it like automatically at a certain interval, right? They basically put in like this interval here, this interval here, this interval here, and then you can
Time movie.
Hey, I just wanted to make you a quick little video. I did drop my phone, so it is a little bit broken, but I found this digital camera in your closet, which I think is going to be better because I think it's going to fit just right on the tripod. Hey there, so I wanted to let you know that I dropped your camera a little bit and it's not really focusing anymore, but actually I want to make you a video because I remember you told me that you really you said I remember you said you really liked the Nocturne I was playing the other day, and so I actually what this is I'm trying I'm trying to write my own Nocturne basically. Hey there, I just wanted to make you a quick little video and show you something that I did.
This is pre-neck brace, by the way.
Hey there, so I'm still working on the Nocturne that I made the video for you about the other day. I actually added a little piece to it today, and hopefully you can let me know what you think about it pretty soon.
Yeah, so I think chronologically this is actually the first thing in the series.
So maybe that's what it sounds like so far. It's not finished, but maybe...
Which makes sense, right? Yes, remember it.
Tell me what you think about it, and help me finish it up. All right.
Fucking impressive.
I'm working on a new part now, and it's supposed to... The new part is supposed to sound sort of like, like healing or getting better, something like that. I don't know, but... so I'll play the new part for you, and then you can hear
it. Also, the 1x1 resolution here kind of makes it feel older than everything else we've seen, I think, just because of YouTube.
That she played the video for you and seemed like you really liked it. So that's really nice. Hey again, just want to do another little
And this just says, and listen and remember, over and over again, which again, will come back. You know, as much as things come back after this.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. It's a pretty big end.
So he was trying to make this video like a bazillion times?
Yes. This is like the long-term project of the channel in a lot of ways. in his mind, like this is what the Night Roach has wanted to remind him of for a really long time. And it seems that the piece is for his dad. And it appears to be something that he made pre getting the neck brace. It's the best I can come up with it.
Gotcha.
And I mean, it's really hard
like
to.
He's, like making it for his dad in the hospital, because he's like, well, I borrowed your camera, I hope you don't mind. And then he mentioned, well, we played it for you and you seem to like it.
Yeah.
So it seems like dad is either, I feel like dad might be in a coma.
Yeah,
because
it's hard to know.
they go like, oh, you should talk to the people who, people in comas, and you can tell that they somewhat respond based on like their heart rate and stuff. So
that's actually a fascinating reading, and I hadn't thought about his dad also being like in a coma or something, but that makes a lot of sense. Actually,
it definitely seems like dad was around to see said thing, because he mentioned, hey, you seem to like it.
Yeah, I mean,
a phone plan by
so that's the end of Stockario Roaches. Maybe the most important thing in the series, because I mean, this is the thing that he can't remember, There's life as it moves forward, and then there's this moment in time that is blocked as far as like his identity. What is interesting about that particular episode is that it flips perspectives like 5 times, right? We're visualized the Stockroach, him, Stockario, the angel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all of these things are him.
They're all like, so the angel is the Night Roach.
Yes. Yeah. Which is also just fast. I mean, remember back long time ago, earlier in the series, where he said, oh, I can hear angels in the halls of the hospital. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Him hearing that song, not remembering it, that is the form that the Night Roach takes.
Gotcha.
Which is, again, just, layers of soul math, basically. It's almost Kingdom Hearts levels of ridiculous identity stuff. But at the end of the day, it presents a really interesting perspective of the person, right? It's something of an ego, superego situation.
Well, it also makes sense that there's, you have a memory repressed that you can't remember. There's always a nagging feeling that there's something that you're forgetting. There's something that you're missing. Yeah. This is a little bit more extreme than that. Night walking, Night Roach, split personality thing going on, but yeah.
Yeah. So let's watch the last 2. And then I think after we've gone through whatever parts of 34 Sonnets we can then do a final kind of say on the series and what we got out of it or didn't get out of it.
Sure.
What we liked and didn't like about it, that sort of thing. And then, of course, we have our interview with the Stockroach coming up, hopefully. I need to schedule that now that we're this close to time for that interview. So I'm going to get in touch and see if I can get that figured out. Here's Stockroach Forever, though.
All right, what's up, Money Grubs? So I don't know if anybody really knows this, but I have been going through kind of a weird time lately. I was kind of feeling bad about, being at that age where I don't really have a lot of friends. But then I realized that I don't need friends because I have colleagues. That's right. I have over
which is what we are, right?
65 colleagues who have been there for me through literally everything. We have invested stocks together. We have invented a popular soft drink together. And we even changed my desktop background together. We also lost over $1 million in Bitcoin together. But then we raised over $200 in regular money together. And in the process, we did drop my phone in a river. But we pulled it out and we dried it off. And we did that together. So I guess what I've learned over the past few time periods of my life is that whatever else I have going on in my life, I can just forget about it because being the Stockroach is better than being whatever else it is that anybody thinks I am. And I also learned from doing the fundraiser that people want to buy my stuff. So who needs friends?
And on that note,
he's too old for friends. Anyway, he has college.
I'm very proud to introduce to you probably the best thing that anyone has ever done, including me. So, let's roll the clip. Sorry, that's a different video.
I forgot about this too.
Hello, lady.
Here we go. Let's roll that clip.
Oh god.
Sorry, that's actually not it either.
Nope.
Yeah, you know, my sons have been using my computer again, and
It's so high quality.
like I said, they're at that age. Let me get these out of the way. One sec, sorry.
I forgot about that too. Oh,
you know what? I forgot to save the video. That's what happened. That's what it was. So anyway, I guess I can just make the announcement that I'll just tell you I'm opening up the Stockadoodle store is what the announcement is, and I'm gonna put out another video tomorrow, kind of showing you everything that we have for sale. And I'm gonna be the Stockroach. I'm gonna be the Stockroach 24/7 now, full time.
Full-time Stockroach.
And I've never been stronger.
Hashtag full-time Stockroach.
Who's that?
And I've never been.
Ashley says, "Is everything
prouder,
okay there?" For the audience who might not be able to see it.
And I've never been happier with my life's choices.
I said, "Are we still friends?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, stockadoodle-doo.
Yep. And then now the finale. I thought we had already seen the men kissing, but I think that is the first time it shows up. So I accidentally spoiled that. It's so good.
We saw it
We figured it out.
briefly in DeviantArt.
In DeviantArt, yeah. So the Etsy page is real, by the way. But let's watch this last episode.
All right, what's up, Money Grubs? This is the Stockroach, and I am so excited for today because today
I
is
will
the
link
day
the Etsy shop
that the Stockroach store
in the chat
is about
for
to
people
open.
if they
And I've
want
got
it.
4 really, really great items to share with you today. And I'm actually working on one more item, which is a poster of the drawing from the Fisherman's story. But I actually forgot to save it after I drew it, so I'm kind of trying to redraw it right now. But like, I don't know if it's really as good as the original
Oh,
was.
I like
So
that one.
Maybe I'll keep working on that.
I love that.
but
Jake
anyway.
is so big in that one.
The Stockroach store. So here it is, and I'm gonna leave the URL.
This is the thing I'm going
up
to spend a
here
ton of money
in
on
Internet
today
Explorer.
because I
So
promised
all you
I
actually
would.
have to do is hit enter, and I'm gonna copy
And I
it.
follow
also,
through
so
with my dumb
you just wanna hit
promises.
Control P for print.
What are you
if
gonna
you're
get?
I'll tell you when we're done.
Windows, or Command P for print if you're on Mac. That'll work too. But here we go. So I'm really excited about all 4 of these items. Sorry, 5. I guess there's 5 items. I must have miscounted earlier. But first of all, we've got 2 different versions of the Stockroach t-shirt. There is the fashion fit version if you're someone who likes your clothes to look good on you, like them to fit really well. And then if you don't really care so much about how the clothes look on you, you can get the unisex version, which is probably what I would go with. It's got a few different colors. And then the best part is that every single t-shirt comes with a little coin on your back. So you can be just like the Stockroach.
perfect.
Thought bubbles not included, though.
Just like Mom
Only
used
the
to
coin.
make.
Next up, we have the Disney's Coca-Cola
This is my
cup.
favorite item in the shop.
Beverage not included. Now the cup is actually empty. Jeff, Jeff, he's been really busy, so we haven't had time to work on the drink part of it yet. But the cup, I think, looks pretty good.
The drawing is so good.
And you can fill it with whatever recipe you want. After that, we have one of my favorite books. We have 34 Sonnets by T.S. Roach, which I think is supposed to get printed like tomorrow or something. I don't know. They keep sending me emails with all these weird questions in them. So anyway, if any of you ever write a book,
publishers.
I would say my advice is to just ignore the emails because they're probably not that important. Yeah, and then the last thing in the store.
Ignore your publishers, people. That's the lesson from Stockroach.
So item number 5 is this one, which is a yeah. So item number 5, it's an instant download, which is great because.
Do either of you guys play piano?
Yeah, I do.
Nice.
I haven't played in a while, but
I have.
Yeah, so with an instant download, you can just check out.
Yeah.
Just keeping it in mind, for reasons.
I can't do. I never got to the point where I could do like complicated chords.
Gotcha.
Without my hand, I can't quite do the different hands doing different things, which is weird because I play violin, so that inherently has your hands doing different things. But
So he's ordered it from himself just to see what it is.
Oh no! This is the Nocturno, isn't it?
Yeah. This is the thing that Night Roach uploaded at the end of the last Stockario.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is gonna like trigger. Okay. I get you.
It is a really gorgeous piece, honestly. I think this is the first time we get to hear the entire thing in one go, actually. Damn, it's fucking good. I mean, I have no understanding of composition, so maybe it's not good, but to me it sounds good.
No, it's good.
Oh, it's good.
But maybe you'll find a version of it in your email inbox at some point.
Oh. I haven't played in a while, so no promises.
No commitment. Just doing fun things for your friends. Oh, sorry, colleagues. Colleagues. We're beyond friends.
We're above friends. We're colleagues.
Or a fancier term, we're a cohort.
A cohort of colleagues.
A gaggle of geese. I gotta say, this laptop microphone's really picking up the piano really well.
Yeah. Impressively so, actually.
I was gonna say it's better than expected.
God, I can't imagine how many takes it it took to get this all in one go. I guess if you've written it for yourself, it's a bit easier, but still, like, whew. This is like my favorite thing. Oh.
Hello?
Hey. Sorry, just hold on a sec.
That's it.
Never dies.
What do you know what that's kanji for? Or?
I have no idea. It's probably something like end or fin, Fin or something, you know. But yes, that's it. It's an ending that wouldn't be so satisfying if not for Stockroach forever, you know.
Yeah.
But in the end of it all, this guy walks away from this with like stopping the YouTube channel, reaching out to a friend. It's the first time we hear Ashley's voice, and like finally talking about his shit.
Yeah. Good for him. Yeah. Yay! Character growth.
It's
Wait, do we ever know what happened with that neck?
No, it's never really fully discussed. But I mean, this really is, in some ways, this ending is like the Catcher in the Rye of ARGs, right? You don't actually see the emotional growth per se, but the everything up to the moment of change is shown, and then the change happens after the story's over, you know? I really love Catcher in the Rye. I know some people really hate it, but I love the moment where he gets on where he's watching his sister on the carousel and crying for the first real emotional reaction we've seen from Holden the entire novel. Yeah. This feels to me very similar.
He's supposed to be a little shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, of course he's an asshole. That's what he's supposed to be.
Yeah. And in a lot of ways, this coming of age story ends with the realization that you do need people, and that even in the digital age, you do need to be able to talk about your trauma and talk about these things. You can't just, you know, use the anonymity of the internet to solve all your problems.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think it also like goes some way where you can imply kind of thing where if he has this is the last video of Stockroach, and you can kind of see that maybe he's taking a step to accept himself instead of making himself a cockroach on the internet.
Yeah. The cockroach
So
persona is retired.
Yeah, because, well, if we can think about that's what he's using to kind of project himself, if he's realized that he doesn't need to project himself and he can accept himself, then why does he need Stockroach? He doesn't need to pretend to be a 30-year-old stockbroker. Stockbroker.
Stockbrocher.
And that's the thing that
he's broaching the stocks.
That's the thing that
can be Jeremy. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it's the thing that undoes the Kafka, like the Kafka-esque metaphor at the very beginning of the series too, you know? And there's something like amazing. And it's the reconciling of the feminine angel and the, you know, the individual that he, you know, the queerness of the feminine angel and himself, you know?
Yeah.
So like there's so many things that have brought us up to this one nocturne that's about, you know, about reconciling your identity and reconciling what your needs are in life and how, you know, just turning to the space of the web is not going to fix that per se. Yeah, no, it's such a good ending. Like oh man, it hits so much harder the second time through too. I'm just like, I don't want to cry on stream, but this is great. You know?
And I think it also, like, I don't know, touches on if it is, like, it's a nocturne, so it's inherently sad. Kind of, I don't know, approaching, accepting that if he is dead, that grief, or allowing yourself to reach out to someone and be like, hey, I have this grief.
Yeah.
To express it. So.
Yeah. Well, it does the same sort of thing that a sonnet that's not about love does, right? The genre of the form suggests a certain narrative ends, but what if we did the genre but without the narrative ends?
Yeah.
You know? And the outcome is that there's something sad but good, you know, in the ending. Sad, it's a positive. It is also one of the few ARGs I've seen that ends in any way, shape, or form positively. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without everybody dying or people getting spooked and going to the asylum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's going to the therapist instead of the asylum, so that's good.
Yeah.
Much less scary prospect.
Yes.
So, you know, I want to next time when we've had some time to think about this, because like fresh reactions are one thing, but when we come back to this and when we get through 34 sonnets, however we end up doing that, I'd love to get your take on the full series, because we do have a rare moment here on this show where we really have played a game to its end, and you've seen everything there is to see. As for the Etsy store, by the way, you can buy the Ancient Tale of Old poster if you liked it for whatever reason. Like I joke around that, you know, oh, fuck me for making a promise about buying merch, and, you know, oh, if we can get the Stockroach on for an interview, then I'll buy merch. But at the end of the day, like I think one of the things that's really fantastic about ARGs sometimes is that because the narrative takes so much effort to piece together, it really feels like you've gone on this really long quest with somebody, you know? There's a walking alongside them that I don't think you necessarily get in shorter pieces of media. So I'm very excited to have merch. I think the thing I'm going to do is I'm going to buy a t-shirt to wear during the interview, and I might also get the Disney's Coca-Cola cup to add to my shelf back here. And also to use in Jocelyn's class, so people be like, what the fuck is that cup?
It's Disney's Coca-Cola.
It's Disney's Coca-Cola.
Jeff Bezos helped you do it.
Yeah. The store page is in chat for anybody who wants to buy anything. Before we, and if we scroll up in the Stockroach Twitch stream, you'll know, or Stockroach thing, you'll notice that the Stockroach stops posting on the 23rd, and then on the 24th is us. You know, it's
actually.
yeah. which is
we
fantastic.
are so fancy.
We are very
We're so
fancy. Thank you, guys. I know we're not done with the journey yet. The epilogue is still here, but for going on this extremely long journey with me.
It's been fun.
It has been fun.
I hope you've enjoyed it.
It's been very good for me to think about analyzing media across platforms, right? Because even though my research isn't in ARGs, my research is still cross-platform, right? So like it's been good for me to be able to think about how people are articulating their identities and the concepts of who they are across platforms.
Yeah. I also think it just kind of overall just going through like one ARG, albeit with someone who's played it before, but like seeing like, well, we found this there's deviant arts, there's Twitter posts, there's all these things that kind of interconnect, and you can see them interconnecting. It kind of just showcases how connected the internet is platform-wise, and just highlights. And that's what the medium does. It highlights. Well, a link is one thing, but it's quite literally sending you on a journey like in this network.
Yeah, and I'm glad it's been fruitful for you guys. We're by no means this is the last ARG I want to cover on this stream, but I don't know how many of them will finish because some of them are still running and all that. And there's a difference between, it's like watching the end of Unis Honest, I don't know if you guys kept up with Mark and Ethan's Unis Honest, but it was an art project that only lasted for a year, and then at the end they deleted the channel. And there's always something special to me about that piece, because even though, you can't relive it live per se, having watched it end with other people, knowing that other people were co-present with you is like a really impactful experience. And I think watching this to the end with you guys has been a really impactful experience to be co-present for. Well, I hope we'll do our little like wrap up on it when we're done with the poetry book. You might find a piano piece in your inbox sometime soon. I'm gonna buy some merch and contact the Stockroach and get him on for an interview.
Yay! That's so exciting.
Yes, I'm glad we get to do it. I have no idea if he'll do it in character or not. It could be anything. And we'll have to generate some questions together and make sure everybody's is listened to and that the people in the chat get to be a part of it too. I'm thrilled, really, that he said yes. Oh man. And I want to write a blog post about this, but I've told myself I'm not committing to blog posts anymore. I'm just gonna write them and put them up. I'll commit to them when they're written. Because I'm not good at I'll put up a blog post this week because it's already done. I'll just put it up. But I'm so spotty with blog posts.
That's what I do. That's what I do with my papers. I'm like, I wrote a paper. I'm gonna put a little bit of it up on the blog and call it a blog post.
It's a good idea. I should start doing that too. So instead
Throw
of
things
going
at wall, see what sticks.
Exactly.
Instead of going to our little lo-fi end, as David has pointed out, Scholars Play is streaming, and they're like us. They don't do ARGs, but they are a group of scholarly streamers out of University of California, Santa Barbara. They're absolutely fantastic. And if you guys would stick around, those of you still in chat, to support the raid, even if you're just going to disappear right after that, we'd love to give them a boost. So I'm going to get that set up. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for sticking with us and sticking with the stream in general. It really means a lot that you guys enjoy this stuff. And thank you to Vehemence for also supporting the piss out of us all the time. I don't know what I would do without that community. They're really fantastic. All right. Any last words, guys?
Nope. Just thank you, everyone, and have a good week. And we'll see you next week.
You gotta say stockadoodle-doo.
We do have to do one more stockadoodle-doo. Stockadoodle-doo! All right. Here we go.
We are rating.
It's 9 seconds.
9 seconds.
9 seconds. And then I had to...